welcome to a very special edition of our Multifamily and More Virtual Mastermind. This is our very first ever Masterclass. So sit back, relax. You're going to be with us for the next 90 minutes, learning all about how to do a deal, specifically with tax liens and tax deeds. What I would ask of all of you is at the bottom of your screen, click on that chat button or that Q&A button and do two things for me. In the chat box, change it from panelists to everyone, so everyone can see your questions, preferably. If you prefer only I see them, then you can leave it as panelists. But if you have a Q&A, pop that in there as well. And as we go, I'll pull them out and make sure my esteemed guest gets them. But let's introduce him very quickly here, and then we'll get off and running. So Marcos Jacober, my guest, is an author, speaker, coach, tax lien and tax deed expert, and now a resident of Puerto Rico because he's a smart man. Smarter than I am. Great tax benefits down there. But Marcos is going to go through tonight with us some incredible learnings on tax liens, tax deeds, and really have a very special offer at the end on how he can help you do your first or next deal. Marcos, welcome, buddy.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me again.
I was going to say,
I heard someone broke my record, so I got to come back here for a rematch.
It's good company, though. So Marcos was the first guest we ever had on this. For those of you that have been around a while, he's the first guest we've ever had. And he had been, even through like the first 9-10 months, like still the most watched video we have on our YouTube channel, which, by the way, youtube.com/multifamilymore if you're not on there already. Brandon Turner broke your record. So Brandon Turner's interview broke your record. It's a pretty big name in the real estate world, so not bad. But you're here for redemption.
All right. I want to see him teaching all these folks how to become deed hunters 30 days back to back. We'll see.
I love it. We're 24 hours straight, it sounds like. So, all right, let's talk about tax liens, tax deeds. Kick us off with this, like a little bit about you and what is it that you do with tax liens, tax deeds, and kind of walk us through how people can dive into this and learn how to do deals.
Okay, so I like to start that saying that you guys probably noticed that I'm not from the United States. And although I am a Brazilian, my life wasn't always a carnival. So I came to the United States in 1998 with $100 in my pocket to pursue the American dream, have all kinds of jobs from construction, restaurants, you name it. And through tax liens and tax deeds, those two oldest form of investment that ever exist in the United States, I was able to go from a truck driver, which is I drove a truck for FedEx for 14 years, to a millionaire in 4 years. And now it's been 12 years that I've been doing tax liens and tax deeds. I teach this stuff in 4 different countries, 3 different languages. I have this book called The Secret to 24% Return on Amazon, which is I wanna gift everybody from your audience with a PDF of it. And here I am. Tax liens and tax deeds became my passion. I do flirt and do other things like other strategies of real estate, but what's been my passion is tax liens and tax deeds.
Yeah, and you are, like I said, I don't know of anybody else doing it at your level. This is a guy that's mentored by Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I've seen him present all around the country. He has a YouTube show with tens of thousands of followers. I mean, this is the guy. Like, we're literally blessed to have the guy on tax liens, tax deeds, speaking to us tonight. So, what you'll get from him, I'm sure, and I know, is you're going to get kind of the broad scope. But boy, you have even the slightest, most like down to a county and somewhere in some obscure state question. It's rolling around in his head. So you're about to get dumped with a bunch of knowledge. I'm excited about that. So how did you find tax liens and tax deeds, and why are they your passion?
Well, surprisingly enough, I've been in many auctions, right? I probably attend about 1,500 live auctions throughout my career. And what always bugs me the most is that sometimes I go to an auction where this the bank foreclosure auction happened in the same room, right? So half of the room you have the bank foreclosure auction, where you have 95% of people competing for 5% of the deals. And then at the other side of the room, you have the tax foreclosure auction, where you see 5% of the investors competing for 95% of the deals. It's not even competing. We have a lot of properties there leftovers. And it always bugs my mind, like, why people don't exercise tax liens and tax deeds. And the answer is very simple. It's ignorance. is lack of knowledge. People don't know how to work, and they don't know any better. 90% of people that start in real estate, they hear about bank foreclosure,
Yeah.
right? And then they move to other different strategies, which is, in my mind, as a real estate investor, I think you should be like a Batman, right? And you have your utility belt, and each one of those strategies are like, something that you can pull off for here, there, this deal, that deal, and so forth, so on. So that's why I'm passionate about tax liens and tax deeds. I'm more passionate about real estate in general. And what I like about tax liens, tax deeds is that the two oldest form of investment, before United States was a country, we had a tax liens and tax deeds. 140 years older than the stock market, right? And yet is the last known form of investment.
Why? You said ignorance.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'll tell you why. The reason why is when you do bank foreclosure, right? Most likely you have a third-party company that runs the show for the banks. Mm-hmm. Auction.com, realauction.com, Beat for Assets. You have a big player that's hired by the banks, right, to run the show. And they have to bring a lot of investors to the game, because the higher the bidder amount, the more money everybody makes. Mm-hmm. Make sense?
Yeah.
When it comes to tax liens and tax deeds, the show is run by the sheriff, which is not even a professional auctioneer. So, and the county is not in the business of auctioning properties. The county is in the business of collecting taxes. So there's no incentive for the county to bring and advertise and bring investors, mainly because, let's say, for example, and I'm going to get to the details of it so you understand the whole process. I feel like we're starting backwards, but
no, okay.
Let's say there is a home that's worth $200,000, and the opening bid is $4,000, right? And I ended up buying that property for $50,000. Is that a good deal?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah. So the county, get this, the county can only keep the $4,000 that's worth in taxes. The county cannot keep the whole $50,000. So the difference between what I pay, what's owed, we call excess proceeds. And by law, they have to be returned to the owner, to the homeowner. So there's no incentives for the county to invest in marketing and hire big companies, bring a bunch of investors in, because at the end of the day, the county is not going to make more money like auction.com will do if they bring the competition up. Does that make sense?
Makes 100% sense.
So most of the time, when you call the county to ask some information, the first thing you're going to hear is like, we can give you any legal advice. So it's up to people trying to figure this thing out. And some people is being scared. They just don't follow up.
So I want you to get to the returns and more nitty gritty. Like you said, we might be starting a little bit ahead here, but to localize this a bit, a lot of these folks, I believe, are from Michigan.
Okay.
You are very active in the Wayne County, Detroit, or you had been in the past. I don't know if you still are, tax deed auction, right? Can you give a sense of, you go into an auction, you're a single buyer. How many properties do you buy at one auction typically? Okay.
So what bugs me the most, I see a lot of wholesalers. I don't know if you guys are if wholesalers are listening to us or whatever, or flippers or whatever. The most difficult part of this business is to find deeds, is to find the deals, right? Is to find the leads that's going to lead you to the deals. Mm-hmm. And we have totally 3,144 counties in the U.S., right? And get this, each county has, on average, 500 to 5,000 properties sitting on a list, right? And those are properties that once were offered at auction. I'm not even talking about the auctions, right? So every time there's an auction, there's 30 or 40% of properties that are left over. They ended up on a list somewhere. Every county has an inventory list. So Wayne County probably has in the land bank right now. So you can buy in Wayne County in 3 different ways. You can buy the property at auction, right? So last auction I was part of was in 2018. they offer about 3,500 properties, which is we acquire 76 of them, right? Then after the auction, the properties go to a list. They call it scavenger list, struck off list, whatever the case may be. Those are the excess properties that nobody picked up at auction. And maybe the property didn't get picked up for many reasons, right? It could be that the property was not good. It was a faulty property. But most of the time is because we don't have enough investors, right? And the third way that you can acquire property in Wayne County is through the land bank. So we have about 160 land banks throughout the United States. And what is a land bank? Land bank is literally a county office that was created to put some marketing behind it and trying to get rid of all the excess inventory properties that the county has. So there's my best deal, for instance, it was a property that I paid $6,342.79 is worth $1.5 million. And I found in one of those lists, and that property was lost and accounted for 20 years. Has been in that list for 20 years, untouchable. Nobody touched it. So through one of my search, that's why I called it Did Hunter. I was going through the list and I found that the diamond that, So what bugs my mind is that we have in one side of the game all these leads, all these properties waiting for you to pay the taxes when the county gives it to you. And sometimes even there's properties that you can acquire for $50. You can flip a piece of land in Shelby County, Tennessee for $50, right? And yet you see people scrambling, leaking 7,000 yellow letters, doing yellow letter campaigns and all this stuff to find the deal.
Sense. Yeah. And I wrote down the questions, a couple of them in group, but I want to take it back a second to, I guess sort of more of the nitty gritty of the process. Like there are certain returns, there are certain, whatever. So can you give us kind of maybe from wherever you feel we've missed from the beginning of this conversation and now, what blanks do we need to fill in before we get into more of these technical questions?
Right. So let's start on this. We have imagined the map of the United States. And in the map of the United States, and by the way, I'm going to give you all this handout so you can give to your folks so they
beautiful. Thank you for that.
They know how to navigate through this. So you have the map of the United States. You have half of the states, they do tax liens, and half of the states, they do tax deeds. There's two different ways that you can make money from it, right? So if you don't like dealing with real estate, which I think is not your audience,
right.
And if you don't feel comfortable owning real estate, and you want to do an investment that's not hands-on, you do tax liens, right? Tax liens, you can make anywhere from 8 to 36% return guaranteed by law, right? And how does tax liens work? Very, very simple. John owns a property that's worth $200,000. He has a $2,000 tax bill and has a mortgage of $160,000. If Joe doesn't pay the taxes into March, the county is going to put a lien on the property. And that lien goes to the first of the line, the front of the line, becomes the first lien holder, right? Mm-hmm. And the county needs that money to provide all the services to the community, police, schools, roads, parks, etc. So if Joe doesn't pay the taxes into the end of March, the county is going to offer that tax lien of $2,000 to investors like you and me. So I go in, I write a check for $2,000 to the county, and now the county is going to give me a certificate, right? And that certificate gives me two rights. Right number one, to collect any penalty or interest that tax lien would generate. And right number two, in case of non-payment of that tax lien, I get to keep the house. So I have a $200,000 asset backing my $2,000 investment, right? That's unheard of. Okay, so what's going to happen is after I purchase that tax lien, the county is going to notify John, is going to notify the bank, it's going to notify anybody that has financial interest in the property saying, hey guys, something has happened. Nobody paid the taxes. Marcos bought the tax lien on this. Now you guys have 12 months to pay it back. Okay, I'm using 12 months as an example, right? Because it varies per state. Okay, so 12 months. and let's say this particular state pays me 25% return. Remember, the rate of return goes from 8% to 36%, depending which state are you buying the tax lien. So when that happened, two scenarios. Scenario number one, Joe comes forward and pay the tax lien, right? The accountant's gonna say, Joe, you're late. Now you gotta give us $2,000 plus 25%. So the accountant is gonna collect $2,500, and the accountant is gonna send me a check for $2,500. So I got my $2,000 back plus $500 of return. Okay. Second scenario, 12 months goes by, nobody pays the property taxes. I'm going to call the accountant and say, hey, I have the tax lien number 12345. Nobody pay it. I want to exercise my second right. My second right is now to foreclose on that property. And I'm going to foreclose on that $200,000 property. Maybe it's going to cost me another $1,000 to do that. So it's $3,000. And I'll get the deed of that $200,000 property free and clear. And get this, the mortgage on that property is eliminated.
So no mortgage, like the
No
bank.
mortgage.
So I could have a mortgage. What about like a mortgage and a home equity line? There's two liens against the property.
That's it. Everything's gone. Everything below the county is gone. Why? Because the American law is based on the English common law. And in the English common law, the king and the queen has to get paid first. Right? So everything below is eliminated. Right? So you get the property free and clear. So that's one way to invest. The second way to invest is, oh, and by the way, you can buy tax liens two ways. You can be part of the auction. There's very seasonal, it's once a year. Some states like Arizona, they do twice a year. Or you can buy the tax liens over the counter. What are tax liens over the counter? After you have auctions, we have a bunch of tax liens, they're leftovers. Nobody bought them because there's not enough investors. They go to a list and you can acquire those tax liens any time of the year and just get the return or you get the property. You can even, get this, you can even right now, let's say you're working on a state that has 1 year redemption period, right? You can buy right now tax liens from 2018, literally, and foreclose on the property because the redemption period has already expired.
That's crazy.
So that's crazy. One way of doing it. The second way of doing it is through deeds, right? Half of the states works with tax deeds. The way it works is this. Same thing. Joe has a $200,000 property, $160,000 loan, $2,000 tax bill. If Joe doesn't pay the property taxes into March, what the county is going to do? Absolutely nothing. The county is going to wait another 365 days. If Joe doesn't come forward and pay it, county gave him another year. If Joe doesn't come forward and pay it, the county is going to prepare a foreclosure process. It's going to take about 6 months. And if the Joe doesn't pay into the end of the foreclosure process, the county now has the rights to auction the property to the highest bidder, right? Yeah. I go to the auction. Let's say I paid $50,000 for this $200,000 home. I got the deed of the property. I can turn around, rent it, sell it, do it, whatever. All the liens below are eliminated, and I got this property free and clear.
Are deeds and liens, like, is there an option state to state, or does each state do it a little differently? Or, you know, like, what do you just go in and say, oh, I don't want to do deeds, I want to buy liens in any state you want, or do some states?
No. So the law dictates each state has its own law, and each state choose which, if they're a lien state or if they're a deed state.
Got it. Okay.
Right. However, there's some states that they could not decide if they're going to do liens or deeds, so they become hybrid states. So you can do both of them. Like, for instance, Florida, I can buy tax liens in Florida, and I can also buy tax deeds in Florida. And there's some tax deed states that they kind of felt bad and they actually behave like a tax lien. For example, if I buy a tax deed, right? Remember, when you buy the deed, you're already buying the property. When you buy the lien, you're not buying the property. You're buying because you want to have the return. Make sense?
Yep.
But there's some states that they do deeds. For example, Texas, Georgia, Tennessee, where I buy, even though I bought the deed at auction, I have to obey a redemption period. right?
Yep.
But between those three states, Texas, Tennessee, and Georgia, Texas is the only state that I can exercise the right of ownership right away, which means is if I buy a property at deed in Texas, even though the homeowner has 6 months redemption period, he can buy the property back from me, but he's going to have to pay 25% penalty on it. I can kick him out. I can rent the property. I can do whatever I want. I can sell it because of the redemption period.
Gotcha. I got a screaming kid in the background. If you hear that, my apologies. But
okay.
So to be clear on this, liens, you don't actually own the property until and if the person does not pay.
Until you foreclose on it.
Until you foreclose on it. Good point.
Yes.
Deeds, you own as soon as you buy the deed. How often, so deeds, you would say 100% of the time you get the property, but
Yes.
on liens, what percentage of people don't pay, or what percentage do you actually, like if you buy 100 tax liens, how many of those do you foreclose on?
All right. So I got people asking me that question a lot. And the answer is 97% of the time people will pay.
Okay.
The question is that a good percentage or not so good percentage?
I think that's a great percentage.
Why?
Because I don't have to deal with the property. If I want to be passive, in my opinion, I get the return without having to deal with the property at all.
That's true. What if you won the property though? Is that a good percentage or a bad percentage?
Well, it depends on how many you buy, right? So if I bought 100,
if you say 100,
that's I get 3 properties for every 100 I buy.
You got from 3 to 7 properties for every 100 you buy. So it's not a bad deal after all.
No.
And then the other 97, 93 to 97, you can make up to 25%. That's what I'm saying. This book over here, it says The Secret to 24% Return. If you find any other form of investment that pays you 25% or higher return, and says in the word guarantee on it, on the contract, which nobody can say that.
Right.
You come to my office, there's $14,000 waiting for you. So
That's
every year,
it was 10,000.
Yes, every year goes up $2,000. So if you had got $14,000, because nobody, the past 7 years, nobody could ever prove there is another form of investment, hand-free and guaranteed by law.
Yeah, I don't think there is. So a couple questions in here I want to touch on before.
Of course, I'm a Jew. You think it will give you $14,000 just like that?
What's that? I'm sorry.
I'm a Jew. You think I would have set a bet that I was going to lose? Of course not.
No, I get it. No, you would not. So Brian Henderson's asking, what does Michigan use? I believe it's a tax deed state, correct?
Tax deed state. The auction, Wayne County is once a year. So here's what you guys have to understand. There's a lot. So first, you need to understand the principle. And I know for the investors out there, can I share a trick?
Let's hear the trick.
So the trick is this. Every time you hear an investment opportunity or investment vehicle, it's normal that we try to bring that to our own backyard, right?
Yeah.
So what am I going to do in Michigan? What am I going to do in Florida if you live in Florida? Whatever you live, you're probably already thinking, hey, how am I going to do it in my own backyard? But the problem with that, for the investors, for the seasoned investors, or if you want to become a seasoned investor, the problem with that is you limited your opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is not if I can do in Michigan, it's not that I can do in Massachusetts, for example, very hard to do in Massachusetts. And if you live in Massachusetts, I don't want you to think that, oh, although this is a great opportunity, it's not for me. Wrong. Because you can do tax liens and tax deeds from anywhere and buying everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right? Very true.
So
I know people
Michigan, Michigan is a deed state, but also understand this. The state dictates if it's going to be tax liens or tax deeds. It dictates what is the percentage of return. It dictates what's going to be the redemption period. But it's up to the county to decide what system or what kind of process they're going to utilize to, follow the route, to follow the law. Mm-hmm. And you're going to see that, and we have 3,144 county in U.S. Every county does it different. Mm-hmm. So if you're going to go, Wayne County is one way. If you're going to go to the county next door, is a totally different way. So you kind of have to become expert on your little niche, little counties.
Yeah, and for what it's worth, guys, I mean, Marcos did a course in Detroit. I mean, not to, like he said, you can invest this anywhere, but he happened to do one in Detroit because he is an out-of-state investor investing in a market that he sees some potential in, being Wayne County. He brought people in. I don't know, it was 10 people or something like that.
Yes.
Stayed in a beautiful mansion downtown. Actually, it was really cool. Had a whole weekend experience where he took them through. They drove the properties. He went through his process with them, showed them how to buy. I went down and checked it out. I didn't participate in the course, but I went down and checked it out because I live in Michigan. It was proximity to me. And I know of at least 6 or 8 of them, that maybe all of them did, people that I know that were there, bought property, multiple in some cases, right? Using this process. So it's absolutely doable. But to that point, Chrissy has a question here. She's scared of getting stuck with a big problem if she purchases a property at tax auction. I think maybe more deed. This is the question for, or a bank-owned auction. She's saying, any tips, any thoughts on kind of being stuck with a kind of quote unquote big problem? How do you avoid that?
100% is 100% avoidable. You have to follow the hunter's process.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, the deed hunter process, or the deed hunter method. What is the deed hunter method? There is an 8-step due diligence that you have, and every time I say this word, people make fun of me. There's 8-step due diligence that you do that if you follow exactly the steps, you will eliminate 98% of the risk. I'm not going to say 100% because people are going to call me my bullshit because there's nothing that is 100% risk-free, but you can eliminate 98% of that. And most likely, people that get stuck with properties is because they didn't do a proper due diligence, number one. And most importantly, they bought the property first and figured out what to do with it later. So not only you have to do the 8 steps of research, which I'm going to teach these folks in a month for free for 30 days for everybody that wants to become a deed hunter. You also have to, you should never buy a property that you don't have at least 3 exit strategies. 1 is not good enough. 2 is not good enough. You got to have 3 exit strategies. And once you develop those exit strategies, you already know down to the numbers how it's going to work on the exit strategy number 1, number 2, and number 3. So if you do that, you're never going to get stuck.
Love it. Love it. And that's the point, right? Like I see Janelle's an investor. She's doing some tax liens, maybe on land or whatever the case may be. But the point is, there's a lot of people that do this. And like you said, Marcus, when you hear about, I remember this years ago, I got this, like when I was 16, this, hey, you can buy cars, a Porsche for $50. And I went to this auction, like with $100 in my hand, like I was going to buy 4 cars. And then you learn, like, there's a profession behind this. It's not just, you don't just show up and buy a car or a property or whatever. Just because it's cheap. You could buy a very cheap piece of land or a cheap property, but without following a specific process, or like you said, having for your process, 3 exit strategies, now you can get stuck. So just buying something because it's cheap and it must be worth more is probably where you do get in trouble. So that makes a lot of sense. And like he said, he's going to teach you a lot about that.
Well, I'll give you an example. So I like to invest in land, right? I'll give an example how you can get something cheap and turn it into something fantastic. So let's say I go to Shelby County, Tennessee. I can show you right now. They have over 4,000 properties waiting for buyers over there. You can buy a piece of land for $50. So $50 for the piece of land, downtown, half an acre lot, right? Buildable. And with the fees, another $200. So $250, you can buy a quarter acre downtown Memphis, right? So what I do with it, I put an ad on Craigslist. I say, hey, land for sale, owner finance. Give me $500 down and I'll finance the rest of you in, 10 payments of $200 or 20 payments of $100. So you go in with $250, get out of it with $500. It's already 100% return on your money. And you actually have, the mail money coming in every month. So I did that with 176 properties. I bank about 1.2 mil with it. Right. So that's something cheap that you can turn into. So it's a lot of different strategies that you can utilize depending on what kind of property. Right.
But to your point earlier, like that $50 piece of land could have a lot of problems. So unless you follow your process to figure out which $50 piece of land
Of course. Yeah. You're not going to
It's
go
4,000.
like this and say, I'm going to pick this one, right? You have a better luck playing Russian roulette than doing that.
Right. Right.
That's my point.
Yeah.
Okay.
That makes sense.
But again, I'm the type of guy, and I think it's just my opinion. I'm going to be a little bit, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I don't know. I don't like to buy and hold stuff. I've done over 1,000 transactions through my life and tax liens and tax deeds. I probably own 2 or 3 rental properties, which are just put in the market right now.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm gonna own something, we're working in apartments complexes right now. I wanna buy apartments where the damn thing managed itself. I don't have to be there. Like single families here and there is not my thing. I'm not in a rental business. I like to be just like the California burger chain, in and out. I like to go in and out because I realize that if I purchase a property that's worth, let's say, that's worth $10,000, and I buy 1,000 and I pay $1,000 for it, and I sell for $5 to sell just like that. I mean, how fast can you sell a property that's worth $10,000 for $5K? Like this fast, right?
Very, yeah.
So I can go back to the list and buy 5 more. Right. And I keep rolling. And that's been my, historically, that has been my strategy, right? Leveraging that way. And the reason why I don't have problems letting property go just like that is because I can go back to the list and buy another one. There's always a next auction. Yeah. On the other hand, people that do flipping or that they go to bank auctions, there's not many deals out there. They spread this very thing, and they have to hold to that thing and do the best they can to squeeze as much ROI they can because they don't know how long it's going to take to get the next deal.
Makes sense.
When I get something, I need to let it go just like that.
So you are, I guess to an extent, control everything, own nothing.
Yes, that's my type. Yeah, that's my type of strategy. Yeah, owns nothing, control everything.
Who said that? Is that
that's the Rockefeller Method.
Rockefeller.
That's the Rockefeller principle. So if you think about it, the Rockefellers is one of the 6 families in the world that controls the world economy. And back in the days, they had a beef between Rockefellers and Vanderbilts. Mm. And Vanderbilts, they're all about real estate. They're all about big buildings, Chrysler building, building this, building that. And where are the Vanderbilts now? They're all broke. Yeah. And the Rockefellers, they're still
doing it.
Right? Now, like I said, if I'm going to own something, it has to be many units, easy to maintain, easy to manage. This thing of buying stuff now and waiting to appreciate is not going to work. It doesn't work long term, at least not for me.
Not for you, right? No, absolutely. That's an incredible strategy that a lot of people don't have exposure to. So I know there's always a ton of interest in it.
And the reason why I can do that is because I'm not buying things in the market right now and hoping to appreciate. Right. I'm buying stuff already with 80% discount.
Yeah, it's the heart of the. Have you heard these things falling in my house? It's the heart of the Burr strategy, right? It's you have to buy at a extreme discount in order for it to work. You can't buy retail or close to retail. You need to get retail price less rehab cost plus a percentage off of that, right? In order for you to profit. So this is an avenue to that. If somebody did say, hey, I like the idea, but I kind of like owning real estate. It's like, okay, cool. You can do this in Burr and refi.
You're more than welcome.
There you go. You get to keep the property. So it works for both ways. A couple more questions let's run through, and then I want to get a little bit of a teaser from you on maybe some of what people are going to get on a 30-day training. So John asked toward the beginning here, how many of the counties still have live versus online auctions, and are excess properties accessible online to buy?
Yes, most of them are. And you imagine, so now a lot of more counties do online auction than versus live auction. So the biggest state that has the most county, Texas, 254 counties, they still do the auctions the old-fashioned way on the staircases of the courthouse. And all the auctions in Texas happens at the same day and the same time, right? So those are live auctions. You got to be there. Florida, 95% of Florida does the tax deed auctions online. Which one is my favorite? It depends. So in one hand, you have the online auctions where you can be in Michigan and buying properties in Florida without having to go there. But on the other hand, you have people all over the world with that same possibility. So online auctions have a lot of more competition, right? Versus the live auction, you have way less competition. And what I have learned throughout my career, the smaller the county, the better it is.
Interesting. Can you give an example?
Yes.
County?
So, yes. So if I go to Harris County, right, biggest county in Texas, they have the county is so big that they divided the county in 8 different sections, 8 different precincts. So when I go to the auction in Harris County, is in a gymnasium, and there's each precinct is doing its own auction at the same time. So you have 8 auctions at the same time, thousands of people there. If I go to Waka Waka County and I go there, there's only 10 people, right? And this is interesting. Like when you go to auction and you see a lot of people there, not necessarily means there's a lot of competition, especially in the tax deed part of it. Watch this. Last year I went to LA County, right? LA County, I think has 5 million people, 6 million people, right? There's only 290 investors on a tax deed auction. Those 290, there was only 25 or 30 bidding.
Yeah.
So that's the level of competition that you have.
Yeah. That makes sense. Is Waka Waka County real?
No, it's
it's Texas. I don't know.
I just made that up.
Hey, how about this one? Can you, and I think the answer is yes, can you buy liens and deeds through your self-directed Roth or self-directed IRA? Can you use those funds to buy a tax?
Yes, you can, but I'm good. I'm happy that they brought it up. I don't know if your investors out there know this, but 401k, Roth Direct IRA, all those are not the best vehicle for you to do this. Have you guys ever heard about something called QRP, Qualified Retirement Plan?
Yeah, but I don't know enough about it.
Why? But we have about 150 different types of qualified retirement plans. There is one though that's Michael Haas from California can set that up for you. If you guys want the contact, I can give you. The best thing, so that particular QRP was done by congressmen, right? Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about it, if you have an LLC, you can set up that QRP. If you are a W-2 employee, you can roll over your 401k to that QRP. And the cool thing is, on a Roth Direct, how much you can contribute, like $6,000 some dollars, right?
Something like that.
And the 401k, I think is 18.5. They just raised the limit.
Yep.
On that QRP, you can put $50,000 or 25% of your profit. But wait, that's more. The bad thing about this QRP is this. Watch this. Roth IRA, 401k, anybody can touch those. If you get sued, they can touch those. If you divorce your spouse, she can touch that. If you go bankrupt, they can touch this stuff. This particular QRP that I'm telling you about, nobody can touch it. It's completely shielded. And the best thing yet, on this QRP, you don't need a trustee. You are the trustee, which means no more fees. No more asking permission to your trustee if you can do liens or deeds or this or that. You become the controller of your retirement plan. It's amazing.
Fascinating. That is
fascinating. That's a whole nother class on that.
I was going to say, right. I was going to say, go back if you're watching this, re-listen to that part if you're watching the recording of this, because that is some deep stuff right there. I had no idea about that, but that is a great.
I'm gonna talk to Michael Haas, see I can bring him on the show. It costs about $3,000 to set up, right? It's a one-time fee. You can consult with him for the rest of your life. So if you put that against the fees that you pay right now for your trustee, is nothing.
Yeah, absolutely. We already got Chrissy asking for his number right now. Wants the number right now. No, I'm kidding. She's very interested. It's funny. There's these different strategies. I did this thing on Rollover Business Startup, or ROBS, which people haven't really heard of. You can see it on our YouTube channel. There's so many different things out there that, like you said, when you get the right person who really digs in and understands all of the different nuances of the tax code, even if it means moving to Puerto Rico, you know?
That's true.
Oh my God. A quick side note on that. I got John Heyer, who's a pretty well-known attorney who's going to come on the show, I think in July. I'm sorry, I think in August. But same thing. I found out that's where he is. He lives in Puerto Rico.
Really?
Yeah. John Lee Dumas. You ever hear of Entrepreneurs on Fire, that podcast?
Yes.
Huge.
Yes.
Puerto Rico. So
is he under Act 2022?
I have no idea. No idea.
Yeah.
I don't know anything more than they live in Puerto Rico. You need to educate me on all the other particulars. But
so it's very simple. So Act 20, just on a side note, Act 20, it means this. You can open up a corporation in Puerto Rico, okay? And as long as you export services or goods to US, right? Instead of paying 30% tax, up to 20%, you pay 4% corporate tax. That's it. And you don't have to live there. Anybody can open a corporation in Puerto Rico right now, and you figure out a portion of your operation that you can transfer there, technically, and you can transfer, let's say you have a U.S. corporation and Puerto Rico corporation. Let's say your Puerto Rico corporation does your accounting, or does your marketing, or does your, calls or whatever, or managing, right? You manage your apartment buildings out of Puerto Rico, okay? You can actually get your Puerto Rico corporation build your U.S. corporation, and that's how you can transfer the majority of your profits down there. And instead of paying 30% here, you pay 4% there, right?
Unbelievable.
Now, if you live in Puerto Rico, live means if you stay on the island 160 days out of the year, it doesn't have to be consecutive. I have friends that they fly down there on Thursday night and then come back to US on Monday, right? And they still meet the quota. Then when you do that, on your personal income, you pay zero capital gain, zero personal income. You don't pay, if you do real estate in Puerto Rico, you don't pay capital gain tax, zero tax. And if you buy properties in Puerto Rico, you don't even pay property tax.
That's
so
a panacea.
That's what we're up against.
That's a panacea. Well, that's unbelievable. And again, a teaser for everybody that's watching. We're going to get a little deeper on that with John when he comes on, because you taught me about this when you were telling me you were moving down there with David, and then I saw David in another group.
Is he specialized in Act 20, Act 22?
I don't know.
If you want, I can shoot a message to Alejandro, which is my lawyer down there. He'll be happy to come and join and just give a section on Act 20 and Act 22 for you guys.
I'll take it. It sounds like it sounds very interesting. And again, I mean, we're talking about moving down there, the benefits of that, but there are benefits you just articulated to not moving there, but moving operations down there.
Yes.
So, wow, really, really fascinating stuff. And I know we've gotten off of the tax lien, tax deed stuff, but I thought that was very interesting. At the end of the day,
they're going to get 30 days of that stuff anyway.
There you go. At the end of the day, it's about returns, right? And there's one way you just learned about that you can get great returns. I think there was one more question in here.
Yeah, because one thing is to make money. A whole another thing is to keep the money you make.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a great point. Exactly. Yeah, it's not about the revenue; it's about the profit.
Yeah.
There's a question from Chrissy. When are the tax? When are the Texas auctions? You said they're all on one day. Do you know what?
Well, so the Texas auction happened on the first Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. Besides a couple of counties that they do at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. And those are pretty cool because I can usually hit both auctions on the same day.
That's true.
Go from one and drive into another one.
There's one other quick, I think this is more of like a kind of curious question, but does PMI cover the bank loss for wiping the mortgage away? I don't know the answer to that. Do you know the answer to that? Like when the deed is purchased and you said all the mortgages are wiped out, does PMI cover the bank?
I don't care.
I don't
know, and I don't care. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. So what's going to happen is if there is any excess proceeds, the bank got to keep it. But what happened on the bank side, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'll tell you an interesting story. You ready?
Yeah, go for it.
So one day I went to Montgomery County auction and I bought this. There's something here called Lake Conroe. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Houston. That's Lake Conroe. And I bought a condo, a 2-2 condo on Lake Conroe for $22,000. It was worth $135, right? So I bought that thing. So I went there just paying carpet, appliance, about 10K, I was out, in 2 weeks. So I finished the remodeling and I'm ready to put this thing in the market. So 2 weeks later, I walked with my realtor to take pictures of the property. I put my key in the door and my key won't work. And I noticed there was a red stick at the door say call 1-800 number. So I called the 1-800 number and you hear that thing, oh, this is attempt to collect that, anything that you say can use against you, blah, blah, blah. And then I wait for the person to come on the phone and say, look, I need to talk to your supervisor. She was like, no, you got to talk to me. I said, trust me, you're not going to be able to help me on this. Let me get your supervisor. So the supervisor came and they were like, well, I just wanted to let you know that this property, we changed the locks because the property is going to go to the auction in 2 weeks. I said, really? Say, yes, you haven't paid your mortgage since this day, blah, 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 blah. I was like, look, let me this easy for you. You were talking now with the new owner of the house. And the guy was like, what do you mean the new owner of the house? I said, you guys are 2 weeks late. I bought this property at the tax deed auction 2 weeks ago. So now you have 24 hours to come here and put my lock back or else. And they did.
Yeah.
They did. I sold that property, I believe was for $95,000.
Yeah.
And I never heard from Wells Fargo again.
So $70,000 increase. Good for you with Wells Fargo in particular. My apologies to anybody that works for Wells Fargo. Not my favorite bank. But no, that's a great point. Like to your point, this is the oldest but least known, I think, of the different real estate, or one of the least known different real estate investment avenues. So I'm sure when you call a bank and say, no, I don't have to pay your mortgage because I bought like it doesn't compute. Like, no, we have the mortgage, right? Like, and most people would think that, like, well, the mortgage is.
Yeah. HOAs. I have to
paramount.
buy HOA one time, $30,000 bill for HOA dues. I said, I don't have to pay it. No, you have it. And that was the HOA lawyer.
Oh,
and I was like, okay, wait a minute. I Google it, the law, took a screenshot, email him. I said, get off my back, sir. Never heard from the HOA again. $30,000.
Google law degree, Trump,
That's
whatever
it.
his law degree was.
It's mind-boggling. Like, I talk sometimes to real estate investors that have been in the game for 40 years. They never heard about tax liens, tax deeds.
Yeah.
I talk to lawyers. They have no clue about tax liens and tax deeds. And once I have to stand in the court and explain to the judge how tax liens and tax deed works. Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing?
Yes. Yeah, it's 100%
Most
amazing.
people don't know.
So, and to that end, like if people that are watching, if you're relearning about this or learning about this for the first time, or you've dabbled in it and you're getting more education on this, I think the common thing I've heard, and I've seen you speak on this a couple of times, and the common thing I either hear or see in people's faces is that look of like, this is too good to be true, right? I think the reason for that is, you have to remove, we talked about it a moment ago, or a little bit ago, you have to remove the assumption that it's as simple as I get a list and I buy on the list. Like you mentioned about the land in Shelby County, I think there were 4,000 on the list. Well, if it's that easy, then you just go buy all 4,000, right? If it's as simple as they're all going to make money, all 4,000 be wiped off that day. You'd find the money if you didn't have it yourself to buy all 4,000,
100%.
Guaranteed profit. So let's pivot then to, and we've got about a half hour, 40 minutes left here. Let's pivot to maybe a little bit of a preview of what are some things that they're going to learn maybe more about in this 30 days if they sign up with you, when they sign up with you. And
they don't have to sign up. It's going to be free though.
Well, my point is when they commit to doing it with you, completely free, by the way. I hope you heard. I want to side note here. I've watched this guy get paid for this. I've watched it. I've watched him stand in front of groups, talk through this content and a 30-day program and get paid for it because we are doing this. And if you're watching this live or watching this on recording, because he's doing this now, it's the time of COVID. He and I have a relationship, all of that. It's free. It's free. I feel like I'm like overselling it here, but I'm just blown away because I've literally watched people pay a lot of money for this. So
here's what's going to happen. You guys going to have access to my online course that's usually sold for $2,500.
Yeah.
Okay. Free. And then I'm going to commit to you guys for about whoever wants to be part of this program. You're going to have to commit 1 hour Monday to Friday. I'm going to be live and I'm going to coach you and teach you live Monday to Friday for half an hour. And then you're going to be divided in groups, in pods. And you're going to commit to meet with your pod for the another half hour, right? So it's half hour with me, half hour with your pot, 1 hour a day, in 30, maybe less than 30 days. In a couple of weeks, I'm going to guide you from zero to hero and how to do your first either tax lien or your first tax deed.
I love that, man.
Free.
Yeah.
No credit card needed. That's nothing from you. Zero. Nada.
Yep. And what I love about that too is I'm a big proponent of masterminds. I talk a lot in the groups about masterminds, and you're going to get, along with free content, you're going to get the power of what that is, how you're setting that up, accountability, the pod, right? Like kind of driving forward, how masterminds can drive you forward to the point where we're here, 8,000 members in our communities. I mean, this is all because of mastermind.
I'll give you guys an idea. For the first time in my career, no bullshit, right? You guys know, you guys buy a program, you think, oh, it's easy, it's going to do it by itself. You put it on a shelf, you forget about it. We are all guilty of that. Am I right or wrong?
Oh, honey, yes.
And in my whole career, that was the first time. I'm just finishing a cycle with about 500 people that I've been guiding through. That took a little bit longer. It was 45 days because it's the first of it. Now I figured out how I can do 45 days in 2 weeks, right? Mm-hmm. And they literally 93% of folks that stay in the program bought their first deal. That's
Is that real?
Unheard of it. I swear to God.
Wow.
So much so that Saturday, get this, Saturday I'm going to try to break the record. The record's 12 hours and 45 minutes. I'm going to break the record. Am I going to go 24 hours straight teaching this thing for free?
That's crazy. 24 hours straight. I got a little distracted. I read a question in here and I was thinking about what you just said, 93%. I'm like, wow, that's incredible. But I just said it a little bit ago. I went down and observed you coach 10 people through the tax auction. Everybody
bought something, but one person that left before.
So 90%.
90%.
93% proven. And to the question here from Dave, any experience in Canada or can Canadians participate in the U.S. opportunities? I think there was at least one, maybe two Canadians there that bought. I know one bought two properties. One Canadian guy I know bought two properties. So yes, Canadians can buy in the U.S. There can be.
Yeah, and also Canada has tax deeds and tax liens. I'm not very familiar with it, right? But I have two partners that went to the auction with the knowledge that they acquire here. They went to the auction in Canada and they bought some stuff there.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not going to pretend I know it all. I don't know it all. I haven't done tax liens and tax deeds in every single county. But the goal of this is for you to learn the basics. And when I teach you what to look for, where to look for, it's going to be easy.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. We got people asking, but I want to keep you all on this thing. So I'm going to torture you for a few minutes here. We got people asking where to, how to, whatever. Let's just spend a couple more minutes. So we don't even have to go the full 90. I know you've got something coming up right after, and I want to give you space for this. And I think people are getting.
Yeah, I got 2 more days of my journey with the Brazilian folks.
Oh, I got you. That takes priority here. So give us a little bit of a sense of because I mean we're talking about a lot of stuff here. A lot of people went from maybe 0 to wow, that's a lot of information, and feel like wow, I've just been educated. But you're going to go 30 days, an hour a day on this, or half hour a day with you on this. There's a lot more to learn. But give us a sense of. Or give folks that are interested a sense of some of the process or some of what happens. Like, what's something that maybe will whet the appetite for people to know, like, wow, I there's something within his process that's really interesting. If you can share anything.
Yeah, 100%. I'm all about sharing free content. So, what we're gonna focus on, and that's what I want to train you. That's not those courses that you come. I give you a soft pitch about it and I'm going to sell you at the end, right? I'm literally going from start to finish on this, right? You're going to be doing it. My goal, and don't screw my record, my goal is that 93% of y'all are going to do your first tax liens and tax deeds. That's why I'm going to be there with you along the way, right? Mm-hmm. So we're going to go through the Deed Hunter method. The Deed Hunter method is the 8 steps of research that you got to do in any county. I'm going to show you how to find the list of the properties. I'm going to show you how to sort the list of the properties. There's people that start doing this. They took 1 hour to analyze one property. Now they're doing it in 30 seconds. Literally, you can analyze a property in 30 to 90 seconds and decide if it's a good deal or a bad deal, right? So we're going to go through that process. Not only going to learn how to do it, you're going to learn what it is, what to look for. And that skill is going to help you to do anything. If you want to do wholesale, you're going to learn how to analyze the properties. If you're going to do apartments, you're going to know how to find people's information. It's going to be amazing. Yep. So for now, what you guys can do is just go on Instagram, follow Did Hunter at Did Hunter on Instagram. That's what you're going to do for now. And we're going to come back and announce this to your folks, right? So what I want to do at first, I want to get everybody a copy of this book right here. That's going to set the foundation for what we are about to do. It's never done it before. I never heard anybody that's doing that open up their free training for free.
No.
And actually committing 30 days to teach you on it. Yeah. Never heard. There's people that you pay for, they don't do that.
Yeah, no, I agree. Right now, Marcos is in the middle of a 50 or 60 day sort of live course with his Portuguese students that you can watch if you want to, if you can understand what's going on Instagram. Yeah. So as that expires, he moves into this 30-day program. So right now, I'm going to type it into the chat here. And for those listening, at Deed Hunter. You want to put that up again there, Marcos?
Yeah, Instagram.
On Instagram.
Deed Hunter on Instagram.
Yeah.
So I do have Marcos Jacober BR Instagram page, but that's mostly in Portuguese. So if you're up to the challenge to learn something new in a foreign language, that's for you.
But at Deed Hunter, go there, follow that channel. You will see from me in the groups and on our page at Multifamily and More. And in fact, follow us on Instagram at Multifamily and More because I put it everywhere. The next steps to jump into Marcos's 30-day program. Meantime, I will get you the PDF of Tax Liens and Tax Deeds, the book, the 24%.
I'm going to give you the book, the map. I'm going to give you the infographics that's going to explain how tax lien and tax deed works. There's a bunch of cheat sheets that I'm going to give you, how much you know which county pays. There's a lot of material. Just on the student platform alone, I don't know if you guys realize this. You're going to have access to my pay student platform for free with all the information in there.
It's unbelievable. It is an amazing, I'm just putting my thing in there at Multifamily and More. Is somebody asked what to follow. But it is amazing because again, I've seen people go through this program. I've seen people pay for this program. And to Marcos's point, I honestly just came to this conclusion. I've seen 90% of people do a deal when they go through his course. And what's cool about it too is there is like I remember watching some videos that you did training people, and it was so nuanced. Like the little things that are in your head that you taught people, like everything looked great until you dropped this one little nugget that made it not so great, right? Like, or the other way around, like, I don't know about this thing, well, what about that? Boom, and the deal was incredible. So that's what you'll get for 30 days with Marcos in a great.
Yeah, I just saw an investor today losing $120,000. Like an online auction. The guy blew $120,000, mainly because he made two mistakes. Number one, he bought a property that he didn't realize the legal description. He was buying not the property. He was buying a timeshare, right? He was buying a timeshare. Yeah. He thought he was buying a condo downtown South Beach, right? Lincoln Avenue,
right?
That's worth $1.2 million. He paid $120,000, but he didn't realize that he was buying the timeshare of it.
Unless you look at the details, unless you know
what you look at the details.
Right? Yeah. But even then, he might have, but he didn't see what something meant or how it meant. Or...
I think was he clicked on the appraisal district. It showed the beautiful picture of the building. It has the apartment number in there, but he didn't realize in the deeds that he was buying the timeshare. And there was another lady that lost $35,000. She bought a property that was in the floodway. So flood zone is okay, but if you buy in a floodway, you can never build anything on it. So that property has no commercial value. But again, that's people out there trying to figure this thing out. Those two, they won't be back next month.
Mm-hmm.
I guarantee you that.
Yeah.
So, if you do a bad multifamily analysis, are you up to lose some money? Yes or no?
100%.
It's like in any other strategy. You have those little gritty details that you cannot ignore.
Yeah. People will forget that taxes go up after you buy, and they won't analyze that, right? Little things like that, little things that are big things like that. So
yeah,
I got a question from John. John, just to be clear, in order to participate right now, follow @Deed Hunter on Instagram.
Yes. So
Right
what happened is this is my English page, right, on Instagram. If you miss all the communication that you're gonna send out to your group and how to sign up and all that, we're setting up all this stuff as we speak, right? That's why we're gonna do it we were gonna start right now, remember?
Yes.
But then I have this month vacation with my beautiful family, so I'm gonna postpone that to August. So I'm thinking we're gonna start August 17th, if that's okay with everybody. So I have another month to spread the word and get everybody excited for it. Yeah. So usually it happens at, I would say 9 o'clock Eastern time. Okay. So people already came from work. They already do what they have to do. So they usually goes from 9 to 10, right? At night, 1 hour. That's all I ask, 1 hour. If you really want to do this, if you want to just watch it and get the free course, that's fine. It's yours. Do it on your own. But if you want to get a free coach that costs thousands and thousands of dollars, I'm gonna dedicate 30 days of my life to teach you from zero to hero and how to do that. So,
gotcha. So for folks that I feel like some people don't have Instagram, whatever, this is what we'll do. This is what I'll do. I've got everyone's email that registered for this tonight. Everyone's email, which I download after this, or we download after this, and I'll have that tagged as this specific mastermind, this specific meeting. Cool. What will come out to that email distribution, all of you on this list and anybody else that registered that's not here tonight, will be the book, the PDF of the book, the infographic, and the map. Those will all come out. Yes. And when the date is solidified in August, sounds like August 17th with the registration link, that will also come to this email. So look for an email. We're going to
have a landing page.
From me. There'll be a landing page to go to. Meantime, if you have Instagram, follow him @Deed Hunter. Follow me @multifamilyandmore, all one word. And all of the information will be there as well.
If you don't have Instagram, get one.
Right, get Instagram.
It's worth.
Everybody doesn't have Instagram. The other one is, and Latanya's getting it set up. That's good. The other one is, look, if you're in the Facebook group, so in Facebook, find Michigan Multifamily and More. That's the group I run. We have 18 of them around the country, but I run Michigan Multifamily and More. Join that group, and all of this will be included there. So it'll be in Facebook, it'll be on Instagram, and it will be emailed. So we'll have it to all of you guys. Like he said, our original plan with this was we were going to go right into it. He had some family plans that said, hey, we're going to have to delay the start of the 30-day. But it's definitely incredible stuff you guys are going to get access to. You get a month to maybe research a little bit, learn a little bit more before you dive in, and then you'll be ready to go as soon as. I
want to see your next speaker top that.
That's true. I don't think they can. We'll see. Maybe you're going to be. Let's see if you beat you in views on the YouTube channel after this.
And people might be asking, Marcos, why are you doing that? I got to be honest with you, because I'm obsessed and making people succeed. That's my obsession. I confess. There's nothing else I can say of it. And yeah, that's I can help myself by doing that.
Yeah.
Right. So there's no gimmicks, no credit card, nothing. You're gonna get what I'm saying. You're gonna have access to the online course. I think it's about 14 modules, hundreds and hundreds of hours on this thing.
Lots of content. Lots of content for sure. Good stuff, man. So @Deed Hunter, people can follow you there. Anywhere else you want to direct people to learn more about you?
No, so far the only thing, there will be a Facebook page, but so far we only have Instagram @Deed Hunter. So just hook me up there. And the reason why you want to open up, so we're gonna broadcast to all different. So I have a tool that when I do live, it goes on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram at the same time. Yep. Okay. But the thing is, there in each one of those platforms, I share specific types of information. So if you want to get it all, you might as well have it all.
There you go. There you go. That's a great ending quote for tonight, I think. So good stuff, guys.
Maybe what we can do is at the end of this, we might gonna have a weekend training live in Michigan or whatever place you wanna set that up.
I'm waiting. Well, Michigan's
I'm doing one in Orlando, 12 and 13 in Portuguese. So we can actually do that.
I love
Celebrate everybody's victory.
I love it. All right, let's do it. Well, on that note, people are saying thank you. Very generous, good stuff. You're absolutely welcome. Those of you that joined us tonight, thank you. For those of you watching the video, thanks for tuning in. Marcos, once again, I appreciate you coming on tonight, brother.
Oh, it's always my pleasure. And I love what you're doing, man. And it's so wonderful to see how much you have grown since we talked last time in Michigan. It wasn't that too long ago, right?
No.
And the amount of lives that you impacting, that's tremendous.
No, I appreciate it.
And I appreciate that opportunity, though.
It's been incredible for me, the journey I've been on. You've had an influence on that, a big influence on that. So I appreciate more than I could probably say here without this sounding too lovey-dovey now. But
and I'm looking forward to host your next multifamily mastermind in Puerto Rico.
I'm ready. My wife's ready too. She wants to get down there. The 160 days for me would be somewhere between like January 2nd and June. In that time frame is the perfect time not to be in Michigan and be 160 days.
I don't blame you. And you know what? Seriously, when I heard about this stuff before I let everybody go, I was like, how in the world am I going to stay 160 days in Puerto Rico, right? Oh my God. When I got down there, and I got to experience, now it's going to be the fourth time that I'm going down to Puerto Rico. I was like, what can I do not to leave this place?
Right.
How can I systematize my stuff where I don't have to go anywhere else and I can stay here? I got a 2-bedroom apartment, beachfront. I'm not talking about beachfront. I'm talking about in the beach, right? So I go down the elevator. I take about 30 steps. I open the gate. I'm in the sand, right?
Yeah. It's
about 1,700 square feet apartment. Like in Miami, it will be like $20,000. It's like $2,500.
And there's a whole community down. We talked about it. There's
a whole community.
U.S. because of this tax benefit.
Yes.
You think you're thinking like it's like developing. I mean, there's parts of Puerto Rico that are, but there's a large community of. Yes. I don't want to call them expats because it's an American colony, but you get my point. Like mainland Americans that have moved to Puerto Rico that are very, very successful because of the tax benefits.
Dude, I literally, when I wrote my check today for the IRS, I looked at it. What I would have saved in taxes, it would have paid for 1 year of my expenses down there.
Yeah, there you go.
Like I'm living in Puerto Rico for free.
Yeah. Yep.
Shocked.
Got me thinking about it.
Excited to see you guys. Everybody, listen up. I'm telling you, this thing right here, it changed my life. Yeah. I know what you guys learning from this man right here is changing your life. Combine both of them, you're going to be unstoppable. I'm telling you. Like, don't take this offer lightly. Come be part of the challenge with me. You're not going to regret.
You've had like 3 mic drop moments already. I don't know if you can top it, but yeah, that's incredible. Another great way to end it.
That's it.
Go do your call with Instagram with you on the other channel that you have on Instagram, guys. Like I said, I appreciate you tuning in tonight. @DeedHunter, @multifamilyandmore on Instagram. Join the Facebook group, youtube.com/multifamilyandmore to watch this again. Everything's multifamily and more on my end. Just find us on any of it. You'll find us under that handle. So thanks again, Marcos. Thank you all for tuning in tonight. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk to you soon.
Appreciate it, Jim.
Bye, brother. See ya.